All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we've got Scott Shapiro. Always awesome to have you, bro. And you know what? You're adding cool stuff to your background.
We were just talking about this for folks tuning in, and Jake and I were talking about it. So like, there was a conversation going before we went live, which is, we're all kind of stuck in our home offices. We're all stuck in these rooms. Like, how can we make it a little bit fresh? So I've kind of made it a point of every day taking the first 5 minutes of the day and swapping out stuff on the shelf behind me, hiding Easter eggs and different things. And it's actually been a fun topic for our team, because every time you get on the phone in the morning, like with my teammate Elizabeth or my boss Keith or my boss Julie, they're like, okay, what did you do today? It's like, it's just something different. It's a cup of coffee, read my email, change out a book or something, and then get back, get on with your day.
I love it. All right, before we start, first of all, Scott Shapiro works for Facebook. He's a Facebook partner. That's the official name. And what is that Kobe? I don't know what that is. What is that?
Okay, this is a really quick thing. I'll tell you. My boss thought that it's somebody holding trash bags. It's not. Kobe was the 1992 Summer Olympic mascot. It is a interpretive cubist Catalan sheepdog. And I bought, I can't remember the name of the artist. I'll send it to you, Tristan. But the guy basically drew this thing one night, I think very drunk. And all of a sudden they were like, that's a great design for a mascot. Always thought the story was funny. And so I found a website and thought it was pretty funny to put this guy up on my wall. Although, that, again, you have to change up the office. So we'll see how long, we'll see when we do another webinar in a month if he's still up here.
If he's still up there. All right. We'll see. Well, let's get started, man. You always have some amazing information for us. And I want to touch on where Facebook is heading in regards to real estate and what information you have for us that we can apply to our businesses. And I'll start with this. The last time we talked, my favorite slide and your favorite slide are always different, but
yes,
they're both great.
Okay.
And I always love the slide because it just shows me how amazing and powerful social media is.
Yeah.
Is that one that says that 70% of the American population is on Facebook every month.
Every day.
Every day.
So it's actually every day. So it's 168 million people. This is how much, this is funny. It's like, as soon as you said that, I was like, I got the stat. So it's 168 million folks are on mobile and on Facebook every day. And what that means is basically, and people who've seen me in webinars and industry conferences, and they're like, oh, here he goes again. But it's really every day, the way to think about this is it's the TV audience at the Super Bowl, the Grammys, and the Academy Awards combined, and it's still larger. Our number on Facebook is still larger. And it is in between 70 to 80% of the American adult population are on our platforms each and every day. So it's a huge number. One of the things I get that a lot of agents ask is, okay, that's great, but what does that mean for me? And the way I kind of extrapolate it is that the way to think about Facebook from a communication and a marketing perspective is that if you break out that you're in Miami, think of it that probably 70 to 80% of the population of Miami is on Facebook each and every day. Conversely, if you're in Missoula, Montana, same thing. It's just the numbers obviously are different based upon how large your community is.
I love that, dude. All right. So with all of the numbers that you always share with us, so this is more conversational, just in case anybody's joining in, watching. If you want some of those stats, we may pop some of those up, but we did a couple of webinars. You can find them on YouTube. So there's that. And I'll also put up the link for all the stats there, just in case anybody wants them again. But I want to touch on a couple of things, because we always get the question of where would people go to find out how to run better Facebook ads and how to really be able to use Facebook to its fullest potential when it comes to real estate, right? Because they get it confused. Question. It's like, well, can't Facebook just help me? Can't I just call them?
Yeah. Okay, great questions. A couple of things. So this is going to be a little bit of a long-winded answer, so I may take a pause for a breath. Keep me honest. We definitely hear this question from the Facebook perspective. And frankly, one of the goals we had coming into the beginning of the year is we needed to do a better job speaking to the industry. So instead of being interpreted by many, we should speak with a first party voice. And then what we should do is partner with folks like you, Tristan, to make sure that what we're publishing and what we're putting out in the marketplace is easy to find for agents. So as an example, we've done a few webinars. We just published our Real Estate Professionals Guide for Success. It's a PDF.
I think you froze a little bit, Scott.
Oh, am I back?
You're almost back.
Am I back?
There you go. You're back.
Okay.
Back.
So sorry about that.
No problem.
God bless the internet. So one of the goals we had coming into the year was to publish a couple of different pieces of information. The one was the Real Estate Professionals Guide to Success, Tristan, that we've talked about before, that you guys have. That's really a great guide about the stats, what we're seeing from consumer behavior, and it will also dive into some key advertising units that we recommend. So that's one place. The second is our upcoming, hopefully soon to launch, I've been working on wireframes with our marketing team, website. So for the first time, Facebook will have a Facebook for Business / real estate website where agents can go directly to Facebook's business environment and get some of this information. So case studies, recommendation on partners, best practices. We're doing a webinar next week for the industry that will have a couple of product people on it. So like that video will live there. So in conjunction with working with amazing partners such as you, that will be a destination. So those are kind of our outbound marketing plays where, how do you find the information? I think the thing that agents often struggle with is this idea of boosting a post, organic presence, self-service tools on Facebook, technical partners, and my brokerage partner. So I'm going to kind of like transition us and pause there.
Yeah.
Organic posting is important in the sense that your business page is an important piece to the puzzle. So what we know is that 3 in 4 US users of Facebook each week search for a local business page. So a lot of agents make mistake one. I have a personal profile. My personal profile is my business. They're one and the same. No, they're not. Got to break that apart. Break it apart because you're a business. Break it apart because our business tools like messaging tools, appointment booking, finding the physical location of your office, those are all very important pieces that the business should have. And that's where it ties into organic posting. So if there are information about the community, information about the school district, information about mosques, churches, synagogues, restaurants, that really shouldn't live on your personal profile. That needs to live on the Facebook for Business page. Again, 3 in 4 US users of Facebook. So we have, again, we talked about it, 168 million people every day. So 70%, 120 million or so every week search for local businesses on the platform. That's first. So that's the first. So
let me show that slide since you brought it up. And I just put up the link to this. So if you want to download it, it's there. It's free. There it is, right? 217 million Americans access Facebook every month, and 168 Americans access Facebook every day.
Yes. And so that's where
insane.
And that's where the business page. So if you actually go up a slide, T, to slide 4, because I can see it on the screen. So that piece that, it's funny, it's like the Facebook guy's pointing at the screen, but he's on video. So the 3
Just tell me where to go, Scott.
The 3 and 4 right there. So this is about how mobile plays into your business. And if you think about mobile and Facebook and Instagram, that's all one and the same. So, what you're looking at is that people are looking for businesses on their mobile device. 8 in 10 surveyed use mobile to interact with the business. And then that second stat that I talked about, the 3 in 4 use the Facebook business page. They search for that. So a common mistake agents make is that presence, I call it like, where is your digital presence? So if you don't have a Facebook business page, get one started, and then use that page organically to really help augment community and community learnings. That information is really valuable to helping to build your brand and your brand expertise. So we have that side. The second is boosting posts. While good for engagement, don't drive a lot of the outcomes that agents want to drive. Lead generation, traffic to a website. It's just, you don't get the deep, rich advertising experience from boosting that you can by using our more advanced tools. So, a lot of agents come up and I boosted it, but I'm like, but you can't generate leads. You can't generate video views. Like, it's good for engagement. and that's fine, but it's really hard to get need out of it. Then you have this kind of theory. It's kind of a three-pronged theory, Tristan. It's, I do it self-serve in Ads Manager, I hire a tech partner, or my brokerage has a tool. So in this guide, we call out several brokerages. Keller Williams has Command, Remax has Megaphone, Realogy has Social Ad Engine, Berkshire has a program, Compass has a program, Exit has a program. These are brokerages that have all invested in technology, either built bespoke by themselves internally or working with a third-party tech provider to build an advertising tool that's easy for you as an agent to use. So the way I think about it is, it looks easy, you think it's easy, you think, oh, this isn't really going to drive metrics. Actually, it does, because all the complexity is taken out. It's baked into the tool. It's 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out. Each tool, depending on your brokerage, has a different level of functionality, and I won't get into that here, but it's kind of like the cell phone, right? You can get an Android, and you can get, the Samsung, Ultra Note 20 that's 6.9, into, oh my God, we can do 4K games, and then Samsung has other Android phones and they've got less functionality. So the way to think about this is the brokerages that I named have really done an amazing job collaborating with our team to build on top of Facebook to make the tools right for real estate for their agents. Each varies in the complexity of what they build, but it is a far better experience than doing it yourself in Ads Manager. Simply put, most agents don't know how to use Ads Manager. It's not that it's not a good tool. We build universal tools, but we open our architecture for partners to build on top of them to even improve upon them based upon the businesses that they serve. So that's that. And then you have third-party tech companies, some of which do a bunch of other stuff, CRMs and websites, and then they go, oh, but we also do Facebook. And a lot of what you have to watch out for there is, well, what does it mean that they're offering you Facebook advertising? And so are they doing lead ads? Are they doing retargeting? Are they giving you the opportunity to do stories? Are they doing video? So that's where it gets a little more complex. On the brokerage side, those tools do that because our teams have been collaborative. So that takes some of the worry and the guesswork out. So I know that was a lot for everybody to hear, but I'll pause there.
All right, there are some questions when you brought up what different brokerages are using for tools to promote themselves on Facebook. Can you go over those tools for each brokerage?
Yeah, sure. I won't get into the deep, but like, let me give you kind of the high level. Yeah. So for Realogy, all the Realogy brands, so Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's International Realty, they have access to Social Ad Engine. That's a program that they built that allows you to buy packages to do advertising for your listings on Facebook and Instagram. All of these programs, what they do is they pull in probably per agent your listing feed, and then you go into an interface, you sign in. And so for Realogy, for Social Ad Engine, if you wanted to advertise, you go into that environment, you sign up, you link your Facebook for Business page, and boom, there are all your listings you can promote. Keller Williams, Command. Keller Williams has a tool that's bespoke. They put a lot, this has been out in the industry, Gary has talked a lot about being forward with technology, as is Josh, and they've built a program with Command that does, the advertising side of Facebook and Instagram and other tools, by the way, should you want to go and do other things besides what we offer. But they've also built a really robust CRM within that tool. They've done a lot of, the things you guys talk about, you and Nick, Tristan, the smart campaigns. A lot of data and analytics are flowing into that tool. It's a bespoke tool, and we're one piece to the larger tool. Remax Megaphone, they're working with HomeSnap, and they have built some really great interfaces on top of HomeSnap's technology that's bespoke to Remax. It goes where you can sync up Booge, some of the CRM functionality. They have some great things on the creative side that they offer their agents, pulling in from brand, pulling in from the local brokerage. So pulling in from both the brand and your local brokerage. They've done a really great job of launching that tool. Exit Realty is doing a program where you can also do not only your agent marketing, but also recruitment through their franchise model. So that's an interesting tool. And then Compass has their tool, which is, I'm not as familiar with it, It's been a bit since I've kind of looked into the tool. I want to say that they've started doing lead generation. I think it was mostly, so at first I think it was mostly brand.
They've done lead gen, and they do what you call now real estate ads, which is dynamic ads.
Dynamic ads. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
And yeah, so I think those tools, the common thread is they do lead generation, which is an important distinction from the boosting conversation we had. The other thing that they've done is they've really wired in a lot of their architecture to provide, you know, and each one has a little bit of a different flavor and sauce depending upon what the brokerage decided they wanted to integrate into Facebook. I think the way I would look at it is, and we've talked about this, Tristan, and I've done this in other webinars with you, you know, if an agent has $10 and they say, should I put the $10 into boosting? Should I put the $10 into ads manager, or should I put the $10 into my brokerage tool? Choose the brokerage tool. Simply put, we've been much more collaborative and worked on deeper advertising solutions that tie back to real estate outcomes and business outcomes than you would definitely by boosting, far beyond that. And then in ads manager, I think it's just hard sometimes for agents to find all of the right widgets and all of the right outcomes. And I think you lose that first party data that a lot of these partners, not every partner, but a lot of the partners have really built in and been very thoughtful about, so that their data combined with Facebook data makes a better experience. Yeah, go ahead, bud.
What about Berkshire Hathaway? Do they have anything yet? Because I had the question.
Yes, they do. They do. They have a program through AdWorks, and so that's part of their offering. And again, you know, AdWorks, Jed, Wes, Jay, they're great partners. They really are thoughtful. They do much more on the branding side. I think, you know, traditionally they have not been on the lead gen side. I think they're, you know, might be starting to think through that a little bit. But they've been, you know, great training, great execution. They use our platform as well as just, you know, across the internet to drive business results. So we're part of a larger suite of how they think about display. And I think that's why they haven't been as ahead of it, as on forward on the lead generation side as maybe some others.
I love it, dude. All right. So while everybody's on here, you sent me a link 2 days ago, a day ago. I think it was a day ago.
It was yesterday.
Oh, dude, yesterday. There you go. All right. I'm going to find it because it's a webinar that you guys are doing. Can you talk a little bit about that so we can promo that right now?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So as part of like the opening talk that I had about, we need to be out more in front of things as an industry leader and providing value back to agents and brokers, property managers, and others that we work with in the industry. In addition to doing the guide, in addition to the forthcoming website, we're going to produce a webinar. It's next week on the 20th. So Tristan has the registration materials, and I think he can put that up probably on the Facebook group within LCA. You can go in and register. And some of the content we're speaking to today, you will hear again, just being full transparency. But what we also have is other members of our team and our product team coming in. So like there'll be a deeper dive on lead ads. There's going to be a deeper dive on real estate ads, the artist I call formerly known as DARE, the retargeting solution that we talk about for brokers.
Is that what you guys are calling it? That's hilarious.
No, I call it that because it's a college reference, right? When I don't mind saying I'm 48. When I was in college, Prince decided that he wanted to go with a symbol. The artist formerly known as Prince, the artist formerly known as DARE. So Amar, who we work really closely with on lead ads, will be on the webinar. He's amazing. Josh Gray, who's on our business product marketing team, he's going to talk about real estate ads, the artist formerly known as DARE, marketplace. Tiffany, who's a teammate of mine, she's going to walk the team through a deep dive on stories and live. And Manny is going to talk to the industry, you know, and the consumer stuff at a deeper level that you and I started talking about, Tristan. You know, so we're all coming together to really, you know, give you guys a deeper contextual experience about Facebook. It's, you know, our product team people normally are not client facing. You know, Amar wouldn't get on a webinar like this, you know, so it's great because you get really the people who are building product and thinking about product in addition to our team, how do we think about sales? So kind of combining together. Once that webinar is done, it will live on our website when our website launches. So again, it's part of we feel a really big responsibility to the industry to use this year as a year we put ourselves more forward. and that we augment amazing partners such as you and Nick, Tristan. Like the work you do on our behalf, the education that you ship to the industry is super important and valuable. And we want to be part of that, and we want to make sure that, you know, we speak in addition to the great work that partners such as yourself did.
Well, dude, thanks for having us. Thanks for being a friend
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm going to post up that link one more time because I'm getting a couple people who are asking for it. I also posted it up in the group. If you're watching in the Facebook group, it's at the very top. I pinned it to the webinar that we're doing right now live.
Yeah.
Amanda has a question for you, Scott.
Yeah.
It's a great question, and I think other people are thinking it here. Amanda says, could you discuss retargeting for agents promoting their services directly on Facebook Ads Manager without brokerage sponsored software?
It is exceedingly difficult to do because you have to place pixels. So there's a part of it about, you know, do you understand how to read dev docs? And full disclosure, I'm not a technical person. Literally, my wife hung my TV in my office. I you know, it's like no one gives me technology. They know better. And you know, and I've been at the company for 8 years. All kidding aside, you know, retargeting, you need to know how to place a pixel. You need to know how to set the events right so that it fires properly. Are you getting far enough down the funnel, as an example, from a lead to just, you know, a click? You know, there's some nuances there. And that is why, again, we recommend tech partners and partners, because they do that on your behalf. It's not that you can't do it. Again, Facebook has Facebook for developers. There's some websites, and Tristan, as a follow-up, I'll send this to you later tonight. But you have to really know what you're doing when you're placing pixels as an individual agent to do the retargeting. So that is why we default and really think that you need to use a partner. Similarly, the setup for Dare. What we found when we launched Dare a couple of years ago is when we went out, we didn't understand, frankly, that, you know, uploading a catalog, like the way we think about technology, we think about it is, you know, well, we have an advertiser, we have a team of people at, I'm going to just say this, realtor.com or Zillow or Lennar, or, you know, name the client, right? And they have people who have this expertise and they put that catalog in. But for most people, for most agents, or even most brokerages who have a marketing person, it does get a little bit technically challenging. And that's, again, why we really talk a lot about how partnerships really matter, because they take care of that for you. If, in answer to the question, if you don't want to go with your brokerage solution, a lot of the third-party tech companies have this. The thing I would do is ask them when you're talking about the types of Facebook advertising services they offer. If they can't answer how they retarget, where they retarget, do they go across Facebook and Instagram? If you're a team and you have a volume of listings, are they doing real estate ads? One of the things about real estate ads is you need a larger catalog to drive that recommender. So, you know, do they offer that as part of their services? Those are ways in which you can kind of start to learn which partners are ahead of the game and which partners are kind of like, we do Facebook, but you find that it's a very rudimentary Facebook experience versus what you want, which is a more advanced experience.
Yeah, I think you brought up a couple of great points there, but I wanted to expand on one and then answer some questions.
Yeah.
One is the Facebook pixel. I think it's often confused. First of all, what it does and why it's great, right? So,
sure.
For those of you who don't understand what it does, is the Facebook pixel, it really provides important information, so you can use it to create better Facebook ads and better targeted ads. So Facebook's tracking pixel data helps you by ensuring that the ads that you create are seen by the people who are engaging with your stuff already, right? So it's not as complicated as you think. What I'll do is, there's a great article that's about a year old. I'll post it into the chat there if you do have some questions about Pixel. This way we don't go deep into it.
Sure.
I'll post it up right there. And there's also a site on Facebook. I think is it Facebook IQ?
It's the So Facebook IQ has more industry and or high level insights and research that our team does. So I'm sure that there are a bunch of articles about retargeting. If you're getting into the nuts and bolts of how to do it, we also have Facebook for developers. That's where that kind of technical manual, for lack of a better word, lives, where it would take you through steps on how to take that pixel code, place it on your website. And really what you're trying to do is you're trying to garner what are consumers doing on your website and how do you tie that back to your advertising across Facebook and Instagram. So they have a step-by-step approach on code. They also have it where you set what we call an event. So the event is, if I land on your welcome page, or on, like if you're an agent, you know, and you have just a microsite for your property that you're listing, okay, it could fire on that, but really probably what you want to do is you probably want it to fire a little bit further down the funnel. You know, did they go from the welcome page to a property? How is that pixel picking up on that information, and how can you retarget them? The best way to think about the retargeting is, you know, if you go to Amazon and you go in and you start looking at certain products, but you don't complete the purchase event, they retarget you across Facebook, Instagram, and the internet. And so that's really the benefit of the pixel. And then the pixel uses a lot of that data, and it builds more robust data that you can use. So as an example, you can place the pixel and use it and build a website custom audience with that. So people who have gone to your website, you can actually start building custom audiences.
I think that's the most powerful piece to it, right? Because ever since Facebook changed out the whole search criteria, we're not able to target certain graphics or anything like that. But
correct,
on real estate and credit and housing and employment, all that crap. So when that changed, I think the pixel became way more powerful to me, right? And also retargeting. Those two things just became even more powerful then. But I think people get confused as to why retargeting is so important and how to use it. I keep on preaching, Scott, that retargeting is, if you don't have retargeting right now, you're really doing a disservice to your sphere, to your past clients, to your database. It's that important in our industry, in all industries.
It's important in all industries, and I think, Tristan, one of the things that you're kind of speaking to is it's about finding consumer intent. So if they're on your site but not completing something, it's a way of, you know, re-engaging them and getting them to take that action. So if the action is that we want them to do a lead, and by the way, you know, most of those brokerage and tech partners have Facebook lead ads as a solution, but they also offer what we would consider classic offsite traffic ads. So, you know, you drive from the listing and you actually go to your website as an agent and you capture the lead form there. And so again, that allows people to, you know, go into that environment. If you have a website, make sure it's mobile enabled, obviously. But when you have that, that is a way to kind of engage the consumer, and the pixel tracks the behavior, and it tracks where are they going, what are they doing. You know, it's a great example of also in a environment where we're scrolling and we're swiping and we're moving fast. It's another way to kind of re-engage that consumer to say, you showed me that you've got some interest, but you didn't take the final action I wanted. So I'm going to re-engage you. And if you think about it and you just back up from like what real estate does, and just don't even think about real estate, think about any other experience. And in particular, I go back to e-commerce sites, Amazon, Wayfair, Warby Parker, when we, you know, before the pandemic, travel sites, right? You know, did you land on Expedia and all of a sudden it's like you're thinking about that trip to Paris and you're on Expedia and all of a sudden you get, you know, tons of ads about Paris from Expedia. It's because they know that you've shown some intent and they want to re-engage because you didn't take the final action they want, which most of the time is either an order for an e-commerce site, obviously, or a lead generation component for an automotive client, a travel client, a real estate client.
Exactly, dude. I think there's, if you only do one, right? Like if you're only doing retargeting and not using the pixel, right?
Yeah.
I think there's
you can't do it.
Disadvantage.
Well, you can't. You can do retargeting, but without the Facebook pixel, you don't pick up on the robust nature of the Facebook data. So that's the other reason why you want it is like, yes, you can do retargeting off of just a general pixel, but you're not going to have the richness of the data from Facebook and what you're seeing on Facebook and what the consumer is doing on Facebook, what they've done on your website. And again, I think this ties back to just the sheer volume of people on our platform. So to not have it is a hole, because as we think about whatever the internet experience is of a consumer today, you know, we play across all of our platforms, by the way. So this is not just Facebook. This is Facebook and Instagram. This is Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. This is Facebook and Marketplace. Like, this is more than just one experience. So it would be a very big hole. And, you know, not to pump another company, but like, I think similarly with Google, you know, you've got obviously Gmail, you've got YouTube, you've got search, you've got GDN. So like, if you don't have those pixels firing and picking up that consumer experience, it's a whole. Now, I think, again, our partners have done a very good job about thinking through this. I think when you're thinking about a non-brokerage partner, if this is like, look, this is too much technical jargon and I don't want to mess with this, make sure when you're talking to those third-party providers that, again, so prominently have our logos among many companies, ask them if they do these things. Ask them if they offer video ads. Ask them if they're doing dynamic ads and retargeting. If you're getting a lot of hedging, you probably know that what you're getting is very basic, and that's not necessarily the value that you could get from a partner that does the more robust work that so many partners do.
I agree, dude. One of those is Ylopo, just to.
I was just about to say. I just was about to say. You know, Ylopo, HomeSnap. I know that AdWorks does a lot of this work. You know, just naming a couple off the top. And then, so I just think that those are really important things to think through as you consider, you know, how best to use our platforms to market your services.
Dude, I think one thing that is often not talked about is just how inexpensive retargeting is, right?
Yes.
So this is how it works on the Ylopo side. For every 1,000 people you want to retarget, it's going to cost you through Ylopo approximately $100. Mm-hmm. So that's very little to retarget 1,000 people, right? So,
the corollary I would use, actually, Tristan, is, you know, what are you paying for direct marketing and print and tchotchkes and out of home and, you know, sponsoring the calendar, you know, for the local Little League team? I mean, at some point, right, you look at that $100 and really upping your game in a digital and a mobile environment, right? All this ties back to the consumers on mobile. You know, I mean, you know, 1 in 3 media minutes is spent on mobile. You know, over 3 hours a day is spent on mobile. So that ties back into, you know, where am I spending my time? Am I spending my time reading direct mail or print, or am I online in the Facebook ecosystem, the Google ecosystem, and others? And so that $100 is great, because like, that's where your consumers are.
Yeah,
it just goes back to money well spent, right?
That's it, dude. And I think that stat that you gave, which was 1 hour and 15 minutes spent a day on social media.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes.
So
and that number is going to keep going up. I mean, I think obviously we're seeing it, you know, through shelter in place. And then I think the other thing I would impart to agents that's not advertising facing, and we've talked about before, Tristan, and is really important, is the use of live and this pivot point of what's going to become the new normal. What is the new normal? And I think that, you know, we've done webinars on this. There's a lot of content that we produced. You guys have been generous about publicizing it. It's in the guide that you just put up. I think the other thing I would state is the consumer mindset is changing, where they don't, I think when shelter in place goes away, we will have kind of a surge of people wanting to go back out because everybody's been cooped up. But I would say look at it a year plus on, and then I think what you'll see is, again, that flattening. And so for your open homes, I think really understanding how to use your cell phone, live technology to really convey the value of the property and your services are an important step. You know, we're getting the question, what's the big disruption? Is it iBuying? Is it this? Is it that? I think it's actually the consumer realizing that I can sit back at any point in time and watch a extended video in almost a way that you are now the real house hunters. I mean, we are really producing this kind of content each and every day. And that the consumer is fine sitting at home and watching you take them on a 15-minute tour instead of getting in the car and going and doing it in person.
Yeah, that makes sense, dude. All right, question, because it already came up like 3 times here.
Okay.
So sometimes crap happens to us on Facebook and we get blocked or something happens and we need to reach out to Facebook. You sent me something before, but what's the easiest way to get a hold of Facebook if we have an issue?
So we do have something called Client Concierge. So that's the help desk, the link that I sent you, Tristan, to the document. What they handle are everything from page issues to account issues to being blocked. Blocked is a little harder because you have to be logged into, irony is you have to be logged into Facebook to use the help tool.
That is ironic.
It is a little ironic, which is something I've kind of brought up internally, which is, it's great for 80% of the things that agents face. We've got a wonderful help website. There's a chat functionality. Please, please, please. This is an ask. I get this all the time. It's like, scroll down to the end of the page. There's a little chat button. It's a little messenger icon. Half the time, I don't see it. I don't see it. It's like, well, scroll. Look at the whole page. Like, it's there. It's right there. So I think for majority of billing questions, page requests, admins, disputing a review, that experience is the best experience. It's the experience that we use. On the blocking out, I would say again, the clients that we work with and the partners we work with have an access. They do have access to us. Usually there's a point person at a Remax or a Realogy, a Compass that has an issue. They've got a sales and marketing team at Facebook. They get in touch with us and we start the process. We don't cover, I think it's important to be transparent. We don't have a direct manager relationship with every broker in the United States. And that then becomes really trying to use the help desk and the materials that we have that are outbound facing. I think we are trying to get better and we are escalating some of the issues that we've seen, especially since shelter in place. As we've seen, a little bit more of a rise of people trying to hack into our systems across the internet. That's not just a Facebook issue, but it's an internet issue. Yeah. To really speak to our BI intelligence teams, our concierge teams about the importance of what our platform plays in the daily life of an agent, not only advertising, but from a communication perspective. So long-winded way of saying, if you're a party who has a platform that's named in that document, the guide, there's usually a direct conduit from their team to our team to help in the process. If you're not, I think the concierge, the help email is the best. And it's usually 24/7 service. I will say that, on average, it can take a couple of days to get things resolved. And the other thing I would say, just, I don't think I'm giving something away, which is hacked means that there's a concern about the safety of our platform. And that does take a deeper investigation by our teams, and that can take longer.
Got it. All right. Perfect. Makes total sense, dude. So just in case you're wondering where you go, there's a little question mark next to the little bell on your desktop. That's where you would go to if you have specific questions or if you have any issues. Obviously, if you're locked out, right, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. And I just truthfully, I mean, it's something we've talked about, which is, they can't use the tools if they're locked out. So how do we figure that out? But how do we do it in a way that's safe for, if somebody has been hacked, we want to make sure that their information is safe. I mean, that's our priority, is to protect our community and do it in a thoughtful way. So it's top of mind. It's something we're working on. It's something I've sat in task force meetings about. And I think more and more, the more we interact with the industry, it's another way that we're trying to ship value.
Perfect, dude. All right. So if you guys didn't sign up, I'm putting the link up again. Let me grab it. That's going to be next week. That's the 20th, right?
Yes. So next Thursday. And I believe, I'm trying to think. I saw your thing. I want to say, I think it's 1:30 Eastern, I think is the webinar. Off the top of my head, don't
so
have the invite info.
11:30 Pacific. So
2:30 Eastern.
Yeah, there you go. I think.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Dude, anything you want to add here in closing? Because I don't want to take your thunder from that webinar that you're going to do next Thursday.
No. I just think, one, we appreciate the opportunity to speak to agents by, doing something such as this, which is that, having a conversation with you, Tristan. I would say one big thing I would take away about partners and about your brokerage solution is a narrative that I'm kind of hitting more and more on, which is don't mistake an easy interface for the lack of being a robust tool. And what I mean by that is, and if you've heard me in other webinars or other events, use the cell phone as an example. When you unpack that beautiful iPhone, it's easy. You turn it on, it's a couple of steps, you download your apps. It's really easy to use. It's ubiquitous, it's easy. It's made to make you, not spend 24 hours trying to find something. But if we were to open it up and try to crack that puppy open, it's very complex technology. You guys have probably heard me say the same thing about electric cars. Same thing. You get in the car, press the start button, the GPS, the climate control, and you're off, right? But again, like if we were to unpack that, it's a very complex piece of technology. And one thing agents have struggled with is if I go into a Realogy social ad engine, or if I go into a Remax Megaphone or a Keller Williams Command, it's simple and it's done so that you can do your job. You shouldn't have to take 9 hours to put Facebook advertising up to drive business results. I think oftentimes agents get a little bit wary of that. They feel that it's a rudimentary tool or a simple tool, and it is for you, and it's designed to do that because we've collaborated to do all the hard work. And the Pixel conversation is a great case in point about, instead of you trying to get dev docs and all this stuff, and that's what you use those partners for, and that's what we've done. So I think that's the one thing I would say to the industry is like, look, there was a narrative about the easy button and people sort of got turned off. I want more than the easy button, but the easy button is for you to launch a campaign. The complexity is all the stuff that you would never want to touch, nor should you really want to touch. You've got a job. It's called being a real estate agent, not becoming, a technical wizard at Facebook and Instagram marketing. So that's the end note, Tristan, I would really want people to take away, which is there's a reason we work so closely and collaboratively with these companies to make sure that their tools are right.
Makes sense, dude. All right, in closing, what show are you watching on Netflix that we should be watching?
Oh, you and I have had this conversation, and I'm so sad that it's over, but obsessed with Dark. Just obsessed with that show. Loved it, thought it was innovative, and if people haven't seen it, it is, I don't even know how to explain it, Tristan. It's like Lost times 100,000. It just is, it bends time. It's interesting. Once you kind of go into the rabbit hole, you won't want to come out. It's the thing you'll want to binge watch because you really don't want to stop watching because you're like, what happens next? So there was that. The other one that, we always love, and again, I think is just a really positive, fun show is Queer Eye. I think those guys are super, super engaging. My wife and daughter and I love the episodes. I went to college in Philadelphia, and this last season was in Philadelphia. I had also lived in Atlanta, which was their first season. So, it's great to see kind of, for me, it kind of binds me to the communities I've lived in, and then seeing these great stories. There were some amazing stories this past season that are super inspirational. And I think, it kind of, in a time right now where we want, some positivity, that show delivers it, I think, in spades. So those are the two that are kind of like top of the list.
I love Billions. Billions is really fun.
Oh, that is another fun show.
Fun show.
There's that, and then the one I haven't, that I've watched for years, but I have to get into a kind of a more intense mindset is Fauda, which is the Israeli Secret Service and dealing with the West Bank, and it's super intense, really amazing. But you got to be kind of mindset for it.
I love it, dude. All right. Well, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. And then I'll be watching next week. So
awesome. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate all you guys do for us. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.